Capital One Venture X card is undeniably the most powerful premium travel card that you can get on the market, and in this video we're going to be going over these 7 reasons why it is the king in 2025. There are so many benefits from the Venture X card that really aren't that well known and that add a ton of value to the card. So let's go over these 7 benefits. Let's start with the lesser known ones first and move on to the more mainstream stuff and analyze why this card is worth it for anyone that loves to travel. Reason 1 is Capital One Dining. Capital One has a dining section on their app where you can go to these partnered restaurants where you can get basically free stuff. You basically just go to Capital One Dining in your app, you browse all the restaurants that you could find in your local area, and you try to find these little bookings right here that says exclusive bookings. They usually have this little yellow border or 2 yellow stars on it. Just book the restaurant like you normally do, and when you get there, they're going to notify you that you're from Capital One Dining, and they're going to give you some free comps. For example, we went to Rosso Blue here in LA, one of our favorite pasta restaurants, and they gave us 2 mojitos, an appetizer and dessert, which was amazing, completely free by the way. So basically all we ordered was 2 main entrees and we got a ton of food. We couldn't even finish it. It was so much food, and yeah, basically an appetizer, 2 drinks, dessert for free. That's a lot of value, and it really does add a lot to your date nights. And for all of you LA people, yes, Bavel is now on Capital One Dining. Bavel is like the #1 restaurant in LA right now. So the fact that you can get free comps at Bavel from Capital One, excellent. Now, from what I've seen, there are bookings up to even 8 people. So basically, if you have a large party, you can still get these comps, but you're more likely to get them if you book for smaller groups like 2 or 4 people. I've been to probably 3 Capital One Dining restaurants so far, and the most I booked was with 4 people. And yes, we did get those comps. Another tip here is to book out way in advance. You're much more likely to find these bookings. I think this is actually pretty much catching on because every time I try to get one of these reservations, they're not available anymore unless you book like a month in advance, which is going to be great. So if you want some really nice free food at your favorite restaurants, Capital One Dining is going to be the option for you. Now, the one downside to this is that it's not in a lot of cities. It's just in basically the major cities in the US. In fact, here is a list of all the cities that they offer this benefit towards. I'm sure that they're going to be expanding this in the future, but this is a benefit that I'm always checking. I always want to see if there's a nice restaurant that I could take my wife and if we can get some free stuff, which we love. It's so fun to find out what free things you're going to be getting when you book through this Capital One Dining experience. It really does make it pretty exciting to go out. Reason 2, Capital One's amazing travel portal. Now, just like many other travel portals, Capital One has a premium selection, partnered hotels basically, where you get free comps as well, like things like $100 food credits, early check-in, late checkout, things like that, and even suite upgrades. So you can get all that just because they're partnered with Capital One. But unlike any other credit card travel portal, let's say Amex or Chase, these prices aren't inflated. Let me explain. So generally, whenever you find these upgrades, you're really just paying for those upgrades because the cost of those upgrades are just basically put into the portal. For example, like let's say you have a $100 food credit. Each night is going to cost you $50 extra. But with Capital One, yes, that's still the case, but they allow you to price match. So let's say you found a booking for $400 on the Capital One travel portal that gives you all these benefits, but you could look on Expedia or Google and you found it for only, let's say like $250. Well, you could price match that $400 to that $250 and they reimburse you that $150 in travel credits. So it really is inflated, yes, but you can price match and lower the price, which is you just truly get those benefits without paying for it, and that's what's amazing about it. So let's go over an example. Let's look at Paris. This is something I actually did and I actually got reimbursed. Here is a beautiful hotel that I stayed in last year around April. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's called the Narcisse Blanc. I think something like that. Sorry if I butchered it, but let's see what the price is on the Capital One travel portal versus the price on, let's say, Google or Expedia. Now, because this is with the Capital One's Premier Collection, you get early check-in, late checkout, you get possibly a suite upgrade when available, you get daily breakfast for 2, that's up to $66 per morning, and you get a $100 food or spa credit. Now, because of these extra benefits, you can see on the travel portal that a booking at the Le Narcisse Blanc is going to cost you $766 or $1,533 for 2 nights. Now let's look at Expedia or Google for this exact same booking for the exact same dates. We can see here on Expedia that a basic room, the same exact room, will cost you $608 a night, which is $158 cheaper per night than the Capital One's Premier Collection booking. This means for a 2-night stay, we can save $316 just by booking it online without the benefits. Now the next step, we actually just have to buy the more expensive booking first. You need to first buy it in order to price match first, but you can always cancel it if the price match isn't successful. Then we're just gonna call this number right here, which is their price match number, and the agent will actually guide you through the process. It's really helpful actually, and it's actually pretty quick. So they're just gonna tell you like, what's the link you use? Like, did you use Google or Expedia? Let me check. And then once they double check it and see that it's actually good, they will reimburse you that credit immediately. So now that you price matched and you got the difference of the reimbursement back, you truly get all those benefits for free, unlike travel portals like Amex, where you basically pay for it because they have an inflated price. And that's what credit card companies do for these premier bookings. They actually just add on the cost of it, but with Capital One, they don't do that. They actually give it back to you. And that's what makes Capital One's travel portal so amazing. It's like having hotel status with like anywhere, and you really do get that benefit for free. So yeah, try this out next time. The next time you're gonna go on vacation, try to look for either a lifestyle or a Premier Collection booking and see if it's inflated with the price. And if it is, book it, then call the representative and they will reimburse you the difference. And if all else fails, just cancel the booking and get fully refunded for that booking. Reason 3, crazy lounge guest access. Now the Venture X card comes with a really powerful perk where you get free authorized users, up to 4 authorized users, and each of these authorized users gets free lounge access to the Capital One Venture X lounges and to Priority Pass lounges, which is amazing. Now to put it in perspective, the Platinum card charges $195 per authorized user. So the fact that the Venture X card gives it to you for free is amazing. It's very generous on Capital One's part. So like I said, each of these authorized users to your Venture X card gets their own Priority Pass and lounge access to the Capital One lounges. And each of these cards, each of these authorized users can bring in 2 free guests just like your card can. So basically with one Venture X card, you could bring up to 15 people to these lounges with you. And that is an amazing benefit. And what's crazy is that the original card holder doesn't even have to be there for the authorized users to use those lounges. For example, I have 2 of my trusted friends who are now authorized users of my Venture X card. Now they can go on their own trips and use their lounge access independently while I stay at home and work. So if you're the type of person that wants to share lounge access with your friends, your family, this is gonna be the card for you. Not to mention, Capital One is rapidly expanding their lounge network, so this is gonna be an even better benefit. Reason number 4, Visa Infinite Protections. The Venture X card is a Visa Infinite card, therefore it comes with Visa Infinite Protections. These protections are auto rental collision damage waiver or rental car insurance, travel accident insurance, extended warranty protection, purchase protection, cell phone protection, and no foreign transaction fees. Now there is a lot of fine print on each of these benefits, so make sure to read all the fine print before you go and file a claim. Most of the time, however, if something happens or like let's say an airline cancels your flight last minute, it's usually their fault because it is their fault. So you can actually file a claim and this actually is going to be more towards your benefit. If anything, this is a really nice benefit when like airlines cancel your flights, lose your luggage, things like that. And that does seem to happen a lot. For example, last year Spirit canceled my flight 4 hours before the flight. We were basically heading to the airport and we had to book a new flight. So trip delay reimbursement really helped us out there because it wasn't our fault. We were on the way, and because they canceled last minute, we got reimbursed. Also, the most notable protection here is going to be car rental insurance, because car rental insurance is low-key a scam. They charge you like $40 a day just to have your car protected, but instead what you can do is you can decline that insurance and you can just use Capital One or the Visa Infinite protection on your rental car, and this saves you a ton if you're on a vacation and you have like many days with the rental car. For example, if you travel to somewhere like Hawaii and you had a 5-night stay where you needed a car for 5 days, that would be $200 just for rental car protection. So instead of paying $200, you can just simply decline the $200 and just use your Visa Infinite protection. And this is why it's so powerful. You can literally save tons of money whenever you rent out a car. Sometimes the rental car insurance itself is more expensive than the car itself to rent it out. For example, I think it was like $28 a day to book like a car in Hawaii, but the rental insurance was $40, which is like way more than the cost of the actual car per day. So yeah, this saves you a ton of money. Visa Infinite protections are the best in the game. Reason 5, 2 times catch-all category. On top of all these benefits that we talked about, the multipliers on the Venture X card are very generous. You get 2 times for everything that is non-category, things like clothes or furniture or electronics, things that you normally would get 1 times points. With the Venture X card, you get 2 times points. You get 5 times points for flights and vacation rentals booked through the Capital One travel portal, and 10 times points on hotels and car rentals booked through the Capital One travel portal as well. Now, like I said before, most credit card companies go for that baseline 1 times points on non-category spend, but the Venture X just kind of swooped in and said, hey, nah, we're gonna go with 2 times points. We're gonna make a statement here, and they did. Not to mention, 10 times points on hotels is a crazy multiplier. That's literally like 10% back on any hotel that you book through the Capital One travel portal. So let's say you spent $300 per night for 3 nights, and that would cost you $900. With that 10 times multiplier, you literally get 9,000 points for that booking. Pretty amazing stuff. Reason 6, Venture X miles are worth a lot. The Venture X card comes with 15 airline partners and 3 hotel partners, and while the hotel partners kind of suck, the airline partners are amazing. My favorites here are going to be Air France to go to anywhere in Europe, Cathay Pacific and Singapore Airlines for anywhere in Asia, and this is where you're going to see a ton of value from your points. Now, generally, you can expect Capital One miles to be worth 1 cent per point, but we can actually do a lot better than 1 cent per point. For example, here's a flight that I found on points from New York to Barcelona one-way business class that would only cost you 60,000 Capital One miles. This same flight would generally cost you $7,896, and instead of paying $7,896, why not just pay 60,000 Capital One miles? Now, if we use the equation cost of travel in dollars over the cost of travel in points times 100, we can get this cent per point value. So $7,896 over 60,000 points times 100 gives you the value of 13.1 cents per point, which is way above that 1 cent per point mark. So with this point redemption, for example, every 10,000 points you spend, you get $1,316 worth of value. And that's why Capital One miles are so crazy. Air France is definitely one of my favorite ways to go to Europe, and just the value that you get from these bookings is insane. Now, there is a process on how to book and learn how to find these flights. So I have a step-by-step tutorial on how I book it and how I find the flights, and I'll make sure to link it right here if you're interested in travel hacking. And last but not least, reason 7, the Venture X card costs you nothing. For as great as the Venture X card is, the Venture X card basically nets you positive $5 just for having the card. That means they pay you $5 just for having the card. I mean, yes, there is an annual fee of $395, but the Venture X card's main benefit is that it comes with $300 in travel credits, and you get an anniversary 10,000 miles. And if we use that 1 cent per point mark, that would be equal to $100. So basically, they give you $400 in travel credits, while the annual fee is only $395, making you net $5 positive. Unlike the Amex Platinum card or the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you don't have to use 10,000 benefits just to break even for the card. Sometimes I don't want to spend $15 on Uber every month or $10 every month on DoorDash or Instacart to just break even. I would just rather have a simple $300 credit to use once, and just basically don't pay anything for the card and just have these amazing benefits. With the Venture X card, you literally just have to travel once and you can net positive on this card. And that's the way I like it, simple and efficient. So you basically break even on the card right off the bat and you get amazing benefits. Well, what better way to do than that? So that is my case on why the Venture X card is the most powerful card on the market right now. Sharing lounge access to all of your family members, to getting free food at your favorite restaurants, and getting really awesome benefits at any hotel that you really want to stay at under the Premier Collection. The Capital One Venture X card is extremely powerful, especially Capital One Dining. That is a benefit I'm looking at every single week basically to see if I can find like a new restaurant that I haven't tried that's willing to give us free things. That makes our date nights so fun. So if you want the card for yourself, I do have a referral link that gives you 75,000 Capital One miles after spending $4,000 in your first 3 months. It is a referral link, so it does help benefit the channel. So if you do use it, I would super appreciate it. So what do you guys think? Is the Capital One Venture X card the most powerful card in the market right now? I would love to know what you guys think. And if you have any questions about the card, feel free to ask in the comments down below. This is a pretty small channel, so I do have the time to answer these comments. Hope you guys learned a lot about the Venture X card from this video. And yeah, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Woo!